and welcome to the 71st episode of Jazzology, presented by Savage Content. I'm your host, Willard Jenkins. We're here alternating Fridays, giving two jazz fans the opportunity to compete against each other for a chance to win $100. Name the famous band whose theme song was the 1 o'clock jump. Was it A, Duke Ellington, B, the Miles Davis Quintet, C, Woody Herman's Thundering Herd, D, the Fletcher Henderson Orchestra, or E, the Count Basie Band?
That's a tough one. I'm going to go with Fletcher Henderson Orchestra.
That's incorrect. Conrad with a chance to steal the point.
I'm going to need the question again. He froze up a little bit.
Name the famous band whose theme song was 1 o'clock jump. Was it A, Duke Ellington, B, Miles Davis, C, Woody Herman's Thundering Herd, D, the Fletcher Henderson Orchestra, or E, the Count Basie Band?
Oh, that's got to be E, right? Count Basie.
That is correct. Score the point for Conrad. Which of the following jazz festivals has the Guinness World Record for attendance? Is it A, the Newport Jazz Festival, B, the Monterey Jazz Festival, C, the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, or D, the Montreal Jazz Festival?
Wow. Now, is this like cumulative attendance or annual attendance? I'm going to rule out Newport and Monterey because I think those are a little smaller and ultimately more niche. I've never been to the Montreal Jazz Festival, and I understand it's big and broad, but having seen some figures citing 500,000 guests over the course of a couple weekends at New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, I'll go with C, New Orleans Jazz.
Don't make me mad. That is incorrect. And George, you have an opportunity to steal this point. Which of the following jazz festivals has the Guinness World Record for attendance? Is it A, the Newport Jazz Festival, B, the Monterey Jazz Festival, C, the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, or D, the Montreal Jazz Festival?
Wow. Okay. That's a hard one. But I heard about this one up in Montreal. And I heard about the Newport. But those are Montreal, Newport and Monterey, like you said, they're kind of small. But I heard about this Montreal. I heard it was all over. I'm going to go with Montreal Jazz Festival.
Yep. That is correct. It's the Montreal Jazz Festival, which is kind of unofficially, except for this Guinness aspect, it's unofficially always been known as the world's biggest jazz festival in the jazz festival industry, shall we say. Brad, which of the following bass players is from Washington, D.C.? Would that be A, Butch Warren, B, Corcoran Holt, C, Amin Salim, D, Ben Williams, or E, all of the above?
Okay. And these are all bassists, right?
That's correct.
Another bassist question.
Yes, another bassist question.
Another bassist question. Let's see. Butch Warren from Thelonious Monk's band. And then Ben and Corcoran are some of the younger bass players. Something tells me all of the above.
That is correct. And you know, Brad, that was a question specifically for you as our reigning champion, because
I'm not from DC.
I'm sure that Paul Carr would have knocked that one out of the park. Okay, because not only are they all from DC, but Corcoran Holt, Amin Salim, and Ben Williams all went to the same Duke Ellington High School for the performing arts.
Right. Right.
So that was correct. All of the above. The co-leader of Weather Report, saxophonist composer Wayne Shorter, made his debut recording as a leader titled Introducing. And then he made 2 additional records for which of the following labels?
Oh, boy.
Record labels. Would that have been A, Blue Note, B, Riverside, C, Verve, D, VJ, or E, Columbia?
Ooh, boy, oh boy. This is a tough one.
You're playing jazzology. Come on.
Oh, I know. Come on, give me some vocal questions. Give me some singers. I'm going to say, oh boy. Well, all those, what's the name of that record he came out with?
Introducing.
Well, okay, so just because I'm not familiar with his first record. And maybe I'm looking at famous labels. So I'm going to take out all the famous labels and I'm going to give the less famous label called VJ.
So, Catherine rules by the process of elimination. Indeed, Wayne Shorter made his first recording and made 2 additional recordings for the small label out of Chicago known as VJ Records. Nina Simone's longtime guitarist was which of the following gentlemen? Was it A, Kenny Burrell, B, Al Shackman, C, Joe Pass, D, Barney Kessel, or E, Jim Hall? Which of those guitarists was a longtime accompanist with Nina Simone?
Ooh. I do love Nina. And I love many of these guitarists as well. The duo record between Jim Hall and Ron Carter is outstanding. Kenny Burrell's Midnight Blue and Chitlins Con Carne is one of my go-tos. Love it. All Joe Pass's Virtuoso albums are great. And the stuff with Ella is great too. So and Barney Kessel's fantastic. He became an LA studio guy, I believe, and just fantastic taste. But I'm going to have to go with B, Al Shackman.
That is correct. And if you haven't seen it, you ought to see the Nina Simone documentary. Al Shackman is interviewed extensively in that documentary, and he had some very kind things to say about Nina and about working with Nina and about how he felt like Nina was a sister to him. So definitely Al Shackman was Nina Simone's longtime guitar accompanist. All right, our next question. Tenor saxophonist and flutist Lou Tabakin, husband of pianist and bandleader Toshiko Akiyoshi, is a native of what city? Is Lou Tabakin from New York? Is he from Newark? Is he from Boston? Is he from Philadelphia? Or is he from Pittsburgh?
Wow. That is one that I'm a fan of Lou's playing. And I first got turned on to him really when they had the big band with Tashiko's big band.
Right.
Oh man. And I never thought about like where did he come from? He's such a muscular tenor player and a beautiful flute player.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I don't think of him as part of the Philadelphia contingent or the Pittsburgh contingent. I'm going to take a wild guess because maybe they ran across each other because they're husband and wife years ago when she was at Berkeley, and he's from Boston. See, Boston.
Uh-oh. We've got our first incorrect response. Lou Tabakin, who played a beautiful set at the Garden Stage at Monterey Jazz Festival last weekend. He had Jeremy Pelt on trumpet, played a quartet set with Jeremy Pelt on trumpet. Lou Tabakin is from D, Philadelphia. This week, we're spotlighting No Regrets, the music and spirit of Billie Holiday, an in-depth 13-episode radio and live streaming series celebrating Billie Holiday's extraordinary musical legacy. The program explores her early life, groundbreaking singing style. No Regrets is produced by the award-winning producer Steve Robinson and written by yours truly. No Regrets is narrated by Rhonda Hamilton. So for each episode of Jazzology, we like to pose that question to our contestants. Now, Greg, you talked about the Fisher-Price plastic turntable and your father's records, so I got a little bit of a clue as to where your interest came from. But tell us how you fell in love with jazz.
Well, that was really it. I would take, Freddie Hubbard Red Clay or Miles Davis Bitches Brew, and I would just find the get down parts, if you will, the vamps, where they would just go off. And something in my DNA and in my mind, I just wanted to hear it over and over. And Headhunters and Weather Report. And then I worked my way back to the acoustic music. And I didn't really want to play for a long time until I got to be about maybe 19. But then being on the bandstand and learning from folks young and old. Jason Marshall was one of them. There was a club in DC, HR 57, when I lived there briefly. Jason blew us away on several jam sessions, and I learned, and it was such a good time. And I knew he was going to be the one to watch of all that group. And I'm so proud and happy for him. New Beginnings. If you haven't shouted that out, y'all check that record out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. New Beginnings.
Appreciate Joe, for real.
So you skipped all the intros and went straight to the vamps, huh? Well, Jason, you've answered this question previously, but let's ask you again. What keeps you interested in jazz?
So it's trying to get back to that feeling I had. One of my first saxophone lessons with Mr. Lawrence Wheatley in DC. Lorenz Wheatley, my mother took me to his house and he asked me if I knew about Cannonball Adderley and if I knew the record Something Else with Miles Davis, and I said, yeah, kind of no. He said, oh man, sit down. You gotta hear this. So he puts on Something Else, and that was like the switch that needed to get flipped. Because and he had a really nice sound system, and man, it threw me for such a loop that everything I heard after that was different. And for me, it's the pursuit of trying to create that experience for other people.
All right.
That in the event that they hear it at a formative time in their life, that it flips that switch. You know, because at that point you don't even really have to do anything else. Like all the internal drive kind of awakens, and you know, you're on that path.
Well, you know, I think you achieved that. When I saw you a couple of weeks ago playing in that Roy Hargrove.
Oh man, thank you.
Jazz festival.
Thank you.
People were like, "Wow, playing all that on the baritone saxophone." Matthew, what jazz great had a famous radio program in Cincinnati, Ohio? Would that have been A, Elwood Evans, B, Woody Herman, C, Roland Kirk, D, Fats Waller, or E, Nancy Wilson?
Well, I don't know anything about Fats Waller having a radio program, or Nancy Wilson. I do know Roland Kirk was from the Cincinnati, or was from Columbus, but did a lot in the Cincinnati area. So I guess I'm going to go, but I don't know anything about him having a radio show. But because I know he's from Cincy, I guess I'll go with Roland Kirk.
That is incorrect. And Ben Young has a chance to steal the point. We'll repeat the question, Ben. What jazz great had a famous radio program in Cincinnati, Ohio? Would that have been A, Elwood Evans, B, Woody Herman, C, Roland Kirk has been eliminated, D, Fats Waller, or E, Nancy Wilson?
I think I know the answer, but the fact that we've already had one erroneous answer makes me wonder how famous it actually was. But it was Fats Waller, letter D, had the show in 31, I think.
That is correct. That is correct. And you know, I guess the curveballs in there were Roland Kirk, Nancy Wilson, and someone y'all probably don't even know, Elwood Evans, because they're all Ohioans. And in fact, Elwood Evans was a wonderful piano player from Cincinnati. That's why I threw him in there. All right. Duke Ellington's classic tune, Come Sunday, was a selection that was included in Duke Ellington's Sacred Music Concert. However, that particular piece, Come Sunday, was originally part of what extended Duke Ellington work? Was it A, the Queen's Suite, B, Black, Brown, and Beige, C, Such Sweet Thunder, D, Gotella's Suite, or E, none of the above?
So this is one of my favorite Duke Ellington compositions, and it's been performed by such a diverse group of people, from solo piano to solo guitar to guitar duo to all kinds of different situations. You know, for me, it's between Black, Brown, and Beige and Such Sweet Thunder. I know that this was written for Johnny Hodges, specifically as a feature. And I think that there was a singer at some point who sang it. Well, I mean, maybe, I can't remember, like a gospel singer. Yeah, I can't remember. But anyway, so it's hard for me to pick between these two. They're in the same era, too. They're like, well, actually, no, I think this one was earlier. and Such Sweet Thunder came much later. And I think this is part of an earlier canon. So I'm going to go with Black, Brown, and Beige. Yeah.
That's correct. And the gospel singer you were trying to remember was the great Mahalia Jackson. Which of the following jazz musicians had a tenor saxophone playing dad? Would that be A, Jan Garbarek, B, Charles Lloyd, C, Joe Lovano, D, Michael Brecker, or E, Marcus Strickland?
Oh, wow. Okay. This is a tough question. So yeah, I do not know the answer to this, so I'm going to have to process of elimination here. I'm going to take out Jan Garbarek because of, maybe I always feel like the Europeans kind of, maybe picked this up and didn't have the same like sort of family traditions we would have had in the United States, because jazz became popular there a little bit later than it did here. I'm drawn to Charles Lloyd, and I'm drawn to Joe Lovano. I mean, Marcus maybe too, but this is going to be a guess. I'm going to go B, Charles Lloyd.
That is incorrect. Matt Merowitz with an opportunity to steal the question. Which of the following jazz musicians had a tenor saxophone playing dad? Would that have been A, Jan Garbarek, B, Charles Lloyd, has been eliminated. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, he's been eliminated. C, Joe Lovano, D, Michael Brecker, or E, Marcus Strickland?
So I know immediately the answer to this question. I thought this was going to be one of those all of the above trick questions that you love to throw in there, Willard. But this would have to be C, Joe Lovano, his father being Tony Big T Lovano from Cleveland, Ohio.
That is correct. And having grown up in Cleveland myself, like Joe, Big T, he was very popular around town, and he was a guy who was responsible for a lot of musicians' union gigs for musicians. So he was a very popular guy around town. I remember once going into a place in Cleveland called the Smiling Dog Saloon, and Elvin Jones was playing, and I walked in right after Joe walked into the club, and Elvin Jones grabbed Joe. Elvin was sitting at the bar, and he said, "Where's Big T?" And that's when I knew that Big T, Tony Lovano, was someone that the musicians certainly respected. So the answer to the question is yes. It was Joe Lovano, whose father was Big T, Tony Lovano. Phil, which of the following saxophonists took first place in the 71st annual, the most recent, Downbeat Magazine Critics Poll as the Rising Star Alto Sax? Was that A, Emmanuel Wilkins, B, John Gordon, C, Jessica Lurie, D, Tina Postman, or E, Sherelle Cassidy?
Well, I can't recall off the top of my head. I wish I had that list in my head. I know Emmanuel Wilkins has been getting a lot of praise, and deservedly so. The question is, has he moved out of that rising star category, or is he sort of winding up on both lists? similarly, Tanike Postma is, I think, has been also getting an awful lot of ink. I'm gonna lean to D, Tanike Postma.
Nope, that is incorrect. Ted, with an opportunity to steal the point. Ted, which of the following saxophonists took first place in the 71st annual Downbeat Magazine Critics Poll as the Rising Star Alto Sax recipient? Would that have been A, Emmanuel Wilkins, B, John Gordon, C, Jessica Lurie, D, Tanike Postma has been eliminated, or E, Sherelle Cassidy?
Well, one of the ironies of the downbeat polls, the rising star category, is that you sometimes have people who've been recording for 40 years who get rising star votes because critics don't know where to place them. So someone like John Gordon, who's been recording great records since the early 90s, you know, he did a terrific record last year, and he could have been designated as a rising star. Sherelle Cassidy is a fabulous saxophone. All of them are great, but I'm quite sure it's A, Emmanuel Wilkins. No.
Okay. Emmanuel Wilkins actually won in the established category. He finished first in the established alto, or they don't call it that, but he finished first in the established alto saxophone category.
Okay.
All right, and the winner was Sherelle Cassidy.
Okay.
We encourage each and every one of you to try your hand and play Jazzology. And if anyone watching would like to become a contestant on Jazzology, click the link below and simply fill out the form. You must be 18 years old or older, and be sure to follow us on social media at Jazzology Trivia Show to get all the latest news and updates. Remember, you can check out Jazzology every other Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and if you missed the show live, you can find the archives on the Savage Content YouTube channel. And we will